Yes, I'm similar to the thriller in Manila. Honeys call me bigger, the condom filler. Whether it's stiff.
Hello. Okay. So this is my mom who I'm going to be interviewing. You can introduce yourself.
My name is Yelena. My last name is Timena. It would be very interesting for me to be part of this interview.
Okay. So we're just going to start off with the questions. So the first question is, what are the major cultural differences or barriers that you have experienced coming to California, and how are you able to overcome the culture shock related to them?
The major cultural differences, they definitely were in place, but I like almost everything I've seen here because it was completely new for me. Everything I've seen was contributed from different cultures, and it worked very well together, especially living in California. So you can see people respecting each other, probably like sharing values that unite them to be like citizens of the same country. The barriers were kind of was I able to overcome certain things. Yes, it took some time for me. This year is 20 years since we came to the United States, and many things that I learned, they changed me for better, and this is how I overcame the differences and probably the barriers too.
Okay. Was there anything specific, like any culture shock that you experienced, like maybe an experience you had when you got here, something that was very shocking to you that you had never seen or experienced before?
That one thing that I noticed, it was not shocking, but it was completely new. It was new to the extent that I never seen such a pattern of behavior, and I did like it. For example, if you're at work and you did something wrong, maybe not seriously wrong, but you made a mistake, and I never heard that your boss or your coworker would come and say directly to your face, you made a mistake, or even made a face, seeing like looking serious, etc. And even when you understand that if somebody's mistake is very serious, there's no finger pointing. Unfortunately, it did happen at work environment in the country I'm from, and I'm from the former Soviet Union, the country called Ukraine, one of the 15 republics of the Soviet Union. So it was very interesting because honestly, deeply inside me, when I've seen at work that I have to pass the work that somebody did, that's my profession. And when I've seen the serious mistakes, I learned that I should not be emotional, saying, what did you do? Or even judging that. I just make a fact very nicely that something went wrong. It's kind of letting others understand whose fault is that. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the things.
Okay, so how important was education to your family growing up? And then give a positive and negative experience about your childhood education.
The education for my family, as for other families as well, was very important. Education was giving more opportunities to have profession where you can grow as a specialist, profession that can give you good money for a living, and being professional means you developing yourself, you growing, you improving, etc. Because of the certain circumstances in the former Soviet Union, even I had a very good diploma after the high school. I couldn't get to the university like 3 times, and being a child, not like a child like 18 years old, On the third time, I said, enough is enough. I don't want to do that anymore. But for my mom, it was not like important. It was extremely important. So for mom, it looked like it's the biggest disaster of any time, and that was important. So what I learned from the education in my country, the education was very giving you a very wide spectrum of knowledge in different areas. It was chemistry, math, physics, geography, history, Russian and foreign literature, Russian language. So it just builds you builds your understanding of the world. So like we knew like almost all the capitals of all the countries of the world. I mean, it's not like saying that I'm very educated person, but there are certain things that we learn a lot of about history of different countries. Maybe sometime we did know more about United States than some people in the United States too.
Okay, so the next question we're going to talk about has to do with religion. So, how has your relationship to religion changed since arriving in California? And did you practice religion when you lived in Ukraine?
My relationship to religion. My family was not a religious family, not because we didn't want to, but it was prohibited during the Soviet time. But having Jewish roots, my family was following certain traditions, mainly for family together, to enjoy time, to listen to the older generation stories, because they were survivors of the Holocaust and the survivors of the World War II. When for example, when we came to United States, to California, I was very happy to learn that people can have any faith, they can follow or be fan of any religion, and what's the most important thing I learned, that you have to respect other religions, even if they're slightly different or understanding of certain things are different, because the core for every religion is the same. It's peace and coexistence. This is what I learned. So this is my feeling on religion. We're still not religious, but my religion honestly is inside me. My religion, it's a belief in kindness, love, friendship, honesty, and fairness.
Okay. So, what was it like learning to speak English fluently as an adult? And then how has that kind of impacted your ability to find work? And have you ever faced any discrimination because, you might not have been as fluent in English?
I came from the country where there was a government language, which was Russian, and every republic out of 15 republic of the Soviet Union, they must speak Russian, and the government language was Russian. So here in the United States, we have English as a government language. We have a lot of materials helping people whose English is not a first language. And I think it's very important to learn language of the country where you live, because speaking this language fluently gives you a lot of opportunities. First of all, not only speaking, but understanding as well. You can learn any profession if your profession from your past wouldn't work here or not that needed here. I have an accent, and I will have it for the rest of my life, and I never felt any discrimination or any even hint that my language is not good or my accent would be preventing me from getting a job.
So you've never had a situation where you've been, made fun of or confronted because you had an accent?
First of all, I never had the situation. And second of all, because living in the Soviet Union, you're kind of a survivor, so you have a surviving skills, and it built a good sense of humor in me. So if like in one of my jobs, if my coworker is a guy from India, he has an accent, I have an accent, and we kind of became friends. So we could joke about that, but it's not related to work. So I don't think that accent could offend anyone, and I never heard for 20 years that it would prevent somebody from getting a job. However, as an immigrant myself, having an accent, I honestly would say that if somebody would ask me, Yelena, we want you to do demo for as a class, that it will become a tutorial and people will be listening and use that, honestly, I would think twice. Because if I have an accent, sometimes it would be difficult for people to understand me if my voice, they don't see my face, they don't see my lips. So I wouldn't absolutely mind if I would not be considered for such things. Mm-hmm. But for work related, never had any problems.
Okay. And then our last question is going to be, how have your political views changed since arriving to California? And then if there is a political party that you support, then why?
And again, I want to come back to the country I came from, because my 30 years, first 30 years been spent there. I never been up to politics there, because there were no politics. There was one party called Communist Party, and they were making all the politics. So as kids, we were followed what been told to us at schools, kindergartens, universities, etc. How my political views changed arriving to California, I understood what political views mean. Mm-hmm. Because now I understand that this political view will give you such and such benefits, and the other political views may not give any benefits to you. And within the politics, I would prefer to see the benefits, not for me, but for all of us. I think it would be fair if each of us would take something from this political view and from that political view, combine it together, that life of everyone in the society would be impacted in a good meaning of that. I don't support any political party, and I think I just explained why, because I like something from one party, I like something from the other party, and honestly, maybe it will sound silly, but I think in 21st century, in such a progressive country as the United States, I think we shouldn't have any parties, because we have one goal. We want to have a good country, we want to have nice relations in our diverse environment, and we want to be good neighbors to other countries in the world. So whatever party we call it United States Party probably. So that will be one party. So that's my, if we can call them, political views.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you.